All right, good morning. Good morning. We're live. I have a super long intro, so bear with me, Mare. We're talking today about traveling while Black. You guys know that Mare and I both have popular videos about some of the best places for Black travelers, some of the worst places for Black travelers, but we want to clear up what that means by best and worst, what that means for you as a person who might want to go to some of these places, and then we're just going to chat about things. Mayor's super fun. We're going to have a great time. So if you're here in the chat, please say hi in the chat. Good morning, Elaine. Good morning, Kari. Good morning, Jessica. If you're watching the replay, say hi in the replay. You know how YouTube is. They'll tell me that you're here. And we can answer your questions about traveling while Black. We can hear your experiences as well. All right, but I'm so excited to have my awesome guest, Marilyn, here. Hi, Mare.
Hey, yes, you can call me Mare.
Okay.
That's my nickname.
Okay. Mare's channel is Mare Meets World. You know her channel. You've seen her videos. If you don't already, I will link to her in a minute. I can't talk and type, but I will link to her in just a second so that you can subscribe to her if you're not already. Mare is a well. Do you want to? I didn't have you prepare anything, but do you want to give us a quick intro, Mare?
Sure, no worries. I can do it on the fly. Hey,
Okay.
everyone. My name is Marilyn, but I go by Mare, and I am a YouTuber, content creator by night, but by day, I am a school administrator. I know I look pretty young, but I do run a middle school. And so I like my passion is traveling, and I've been doing it since 2014. The first place I went to was Belize in Central America, and then I lived in South Korea for a year and a half. But my passion is traveling while Black. You know, I like to travel and like share my experiences as a Black, dark-skinned woman abroad.
Yes. You emphasize dark skin on your channel a lot, and I appreciate that because we do see certain people represented and not others. Right. And so we
Right.
sometimes when we talk about Black travel, we see people represented who aren't going to have the same experiences as people who look like me or people who look like you. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
important to say, I appreciate that you rep dark skinned women. I appreciate that.
All day.
Yeah, because some people won't have, experiences vary. Experiences vary. So
Mm-hmm.
so I didn't know that you were a school administrator. I knew that you had a grown up, an adult job, but I didn't know that you were a school administrator. So how do you fit in travel so much?
I fit in travel just by the when we have the holidays, like the breaks. We have our winter break, we have summers off. And like before I was a school administrator, I was a teacher. So this is my first year as an administrator.
Oh,
And I haven't been able to travel because of COVID, but like I do have some upcoming trips planned. So like my honeymoon is planned. We're going to be going to Ghana. I have a trip to Mexico, and some other things happen, like a yoga retreat to Mexico. But usually it's when we have spring break for a week, we have our winter break for 2 weeks, we have February vacation, and then we have the summers off, and that's when I budget travel in.
that's good. Yeah, there's some built-in free time, like built-in time when you can just go.
Exactly.
Um, okay, so I want to go a couple different directions. So you haven't been to Ghana yet, but I know a lot of people's ears perked up when you said that you are going to Ghana for your honeymoon. Are
Hmm.
you going like resort style? How much can you share about what you're planning for your honeymoon?
A good amount, probably not exactly like the resort I'll be
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
or the time frame, but I can share like a general sense of what it's going to be like. So I'll be in the western region of Ghana for the bulk of our like honeymoon at a resort, and then we'll be in Accra, Ghana for like another bulk, like for like a full week. At an Airbnb, just exploring, going to like the Cape Coast Castle. I think it's called Cocoon Park, like one of the national parks there. So just like dabbling like tourists would do
Okay.
at places where they've been highly recommended by Ghanaian friends that I have. I am Nigerian. That's my heritage. My mom and dad were both from Nigeria. I was born in Rhode Island, USA.
Ah.
Yep, Rhode Island, USA.
I didn't know
So
that.
small.
I'm from Delaware. So
Nice.
In Delaware, you guys probably don't care about Delaware, but in Delaware, that's who we make fun of, right? So people make fun of
Oh,
Delaware being a small state, and who cares if Delaware? You just drive through it. It's just there for you to drive through on I-95. So we, in turn, make fun of Rhode Island for being even smaller than us.
wow. Why can't the underdogs like come together? We gotta break each other down. Why?
We need to lift each other up, don't we? Come
Come on,
together.
Delaware.
Come
Come together.
together.
Because Rhode Island, we get a lot from like Massachusetts and all these other different states in New England that are bigger than us because we are so small,
Yeah.
but we have a personality.
Yes. Small but mighty. Are you there now?
Yeah. I live in Massachusetts now, and that's
Okay.
where I work.
Okay.
Yep. Very close, very like literally 30 minutes away. I lived in Boston for like a good amount of time. So I saw somebody in the chat say that they live in Boston. I was there for 2 years, and now I live on the south coast of Massachusetts.
Okay. So back to Ghana. How did you guys decide on Ghana? How did you decide that that was going to be your honeymoon spot?
It was it's interesting. It was a quick decision. We were just like, let's go somewhere where we could see other Black, dark skinned, brown folk. Because oftentimes when you think honeymoon, you think like Europe
Yeah.
or the Caribbean or maybe
Beachy.
Mexico. We're like, yeah, very beachy. And we're like, no. We're like, I feel like I'm very much a rugged traveler. I don't do a lot of vacationing.
Okay.
I like backpacking and hiking and like living in places for like random amounts of time. I don't do like the beach lounge pamper type thing. And my fiance is really like new to travel. Like I actually got him his passport. Like I gave him the money to get it. It was one of his first gifts from me.
Ah.
And yeah, so now he travels all the time with me. But it was a really quick, like, let's go somewhere Black. Okay, where can we go? West Africa. Okay, where is a place that we know is easy to navigate? It's like, tourist friendly, and Ghana is like up and coming in terms of like being very tourist friendly. So we decided on Ghana in that way.
Great. Great. That's exciting. All right. So I can't wait to see. It's your honeymoon, so you're not going to be giving away, like, you're not going to be shooting footage the whole time. But I hope we get we get a sneak peek of it, like a little peek of it.
You will.
Okay. All right. So when what I think I know you from having lived in Korea as a teacher. Is that right? So
Yeah.
Mare taught English in Korea. So we've talked about that on the channel recently about how teaching English either online or abroad is a great way to get yourself out the door. Like if you want to leave the US, teaching English is a wonderful way to do that, to experience that. So how did that happen for you? How did you decide that that was what you were going to do?
Mhm. I'm so glad that you guys talked about it on your channel. Like I didn't realize that. I've seen your videos and I follow you. I've been following you for a while, but that's really awesome to hear that people are still talking about Korea because I don't feel like I see those videos anymore. But the way it happened for me was at the time I think South Korea was like super. I saw so many videos on YouTube back in like 2014 about like living in South Korea, teaching in South Korea that really like piqued my interest. And in college and undergrad, I was part of the Asian American Association.
Oh,
I had an Asian roommate. I had a lot of Asian friends, and my Asian roommate was from South Korea. And I would go to Korean church with her on Sunday. So I was very integrated in the Korean society as a college student, oddly enough. And so I found out from one of my other Korean friends that she had done this program called Teach and Learn in South Korea. And like she told me that you don't need a degree for it. Like they give you a monthly stipend, all of that. I just sounded so good. So good. And so I applied, I got in right after undergrad, and I went straight there when I graduated in 2014. And it was my first time traveling alone. It was only my second country. Cause like I said, the first country I had gone to was just like 2 months before that. And it was Belize in Central America. So 2 months before I moved away to South Korea, I had just gotten my feet wet with traveling, and I just feel like I was a much braver version of myself back then. I'm still pretty brave, but I was very much more brave when I was like 22 out of college. And then I lived in South Korea for a year and a half on Jeju Island.
oh, okay. So your roommate was a good ambassador for Korea. She was because of your experiences with her. Do you think is that what gave you a little more confidence to like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go alone and I'm gonna like this place because I like this person?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, just like the experiences I had with her at the church, and not gonna lie, eating the food,
Girl,
that
yeah.
okay, that's what really took me over overseas.
Yeah. Yeah. Food will do that to you. Food is a wonderful ambassador as well. I worked in
Yep.
hospitals as a pharmacy technician. I've worked in two different hospitals, or three, I don't know, hospitals. And I've always had nice relationships with Filipina hospital workers, either nurses or whatever. And they cook and they bring food in for you. And that made me like, I think I would like to go to the Philippines. You know, people,
Yeah.
individual people and their food are wonderful ambassadors, are like a wonderful, like, sneak peek of what you're going to get when you go there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Did you have and you were how old?
22 when I left.
Did you have any pushback from your family about up and going to Korea?
Let me think. No, I don't. My mom, yes, but she pushes back on everything. She's
Okay.
very overprotective of her children,
Mm,
to a fault, and so she tries to shelter us from experiencing a lot of different things that she's not familiar with. So she definitely had pushback, but she was also very excited for me. My dad was all for it.
okay.
Definitely all for it at the time. Like he supported me in getting my flight out there because I didn't have a lot of money, and I know my family didn't have a lot of money either. So it was a huge deal that my dad and my mom contributed too, but my dad, I still remember, he gave me a huge portion, even though he didn't have much, to get me to South Korea. So although their verbiage was like, "Oh my God, like you're so young, don't go out there by yourself," like the actions were very supportive of me going out there.
Good. And they had you said they're both Nigerian, so they had come to the U.S. from Nigeria, so they understand a little bit about you got to go someplace else sometimes to live your life the way you want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Now, when you got to Korea, was it what you had expected, and how well were you treated?
I think, was it what I expected? That's a good question. I don't really have a lot of expectations of things.
Okay.
That's the kind of personality I am. I just go with the flow to a fault sometimes. Sometimes I'm too relaxed and too lax. But no, I expected that I was gonna like the food. I think that was the biggest expectation I had, and that met my expectation because the food was beyond what I had imagined it would be. It was so delicious. But no, I just went there open minded and like looking forward to just growing as a person, and in that way, yes, I grew a lot, and so it met my expectations, of growth as a woman and as a person, and as a traveler.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, everything in Korea, the people treated me very well. There were definitely instances, and I mentioned this in one of my videos called, the top 5 most Black friendly countries, because Korea made it to number 5 in that video. But I did mention how people would come up to me, and I wouldn't always wear. I honestly never wore wigs or weaves back then. I wore like box braid extensions, faux locks. I wore yarn braids, and that's when people would touch my hair when they saw me with the braids or the locks, because it was, honestly, I can't really justify. Like, don't touch
Yeah.
me.
No,
don't
don't.
put your hands on me. What's going on? But they would touch my hair like, oh, yapuda, yapuda. Jinja mori, which yapuda means beautiful. Jinja mori means, is that hair real? And they would reach for my hair with all these like questions and curiosities, and I really didn't like that.
Mhm.
But for the most part, Koreans were very welcoming, hospitable, friendly, like loving, so loving. And I definitely felt embraced while I was there. The principal I worked with at my school was like a mom to me. She really, really, like, we had such a close relationship. And I do miss her. I need to go back and visit because like I think about her all the time.
Good. I think that sometimes when we talk about the act of people reaching out to touch your hair and people always commenting on your hair, there are people who don't see who are like, oh, no big deal, right? People, I go places and people always are trying to touch me, and there are people who are like, oh, no big deal. They've just never seen a Black person before, but it's daily and many times a day, and it's in your space without your permission. It does get old. It gets old. I had
Yeah.
I had a lot of people. I took a career break or a gap year to Southeast Asia for a full year, and I don't know that I ever went a day without people. Well, no, in different places in Thailand and in some places in Vietnam, Thailand. I did not go a day without people snapping pictures of me. Just while I'm minding my business, I'm just living, right?
Really.
Some days, no problem, right? Some days I feel like Beyonce, and I don't blame you for wanting to take my picture, right? Sometimes, like, look at me. Who wouldn't? Right?
Beautiful, it's gorgeous.
Someday, and then other days I am not. I don't. I'm not feeling it. I'm not here for it. I don't want it. Leave me alone. That's something that is hard for people to understand if they haven't felt that constantly. Every day for a set period of time. It seems like no big deal. Even the hair thing. It might to some people seem like no big deal, but it can wear on you. It really can. I
Mhm.
never, I know, now I'm tall, I'm big and tall. I've never had an experience, I don't think, of people actually physically touching me. Not one. I can't remember any time when people were like touched me without my permission, except to like hold my hand to, like, can we take a picture? But not like
Uh,
touching my hair and stuff. I don't think. But even still, I think that some people brush past that experience when we talk about some not negative experiences, but some experiences that were not positive.
yeah.
And we talk about the hair and the touching and the picture taking. There are some people who dismiss that as you're just being sensitive, but we're talking every day, all the time. In some places, in other places, nobody cares. In the Philippines, nobody seemed to really care.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Nobody seemed to really care. They would say, hello, sister. It was obvious that they saw me and recognized that I was a black woman. And they would say, hello,
Right.
sister. But no, like, picture taking, no following me, no hair questions, even no hair questions. In a lot of places, people did at least ask hair questions because most of the time I wore either mini twists or like an afro. But
Right.
yeah, if I'm 5'9", Zakia's asking how tall I am. I'm 5'9". I'm not like super tall, but I'm tall enough that in Southeast Asia, I'm taller than everyone.
Oh, good point. Because yeah, they are a bit shorter than like the average American person.
Yes. So you will see me. There's no hiding. I'm not walking out the door, and maybe they won't notice. No, as soon as I walk out the door, people will see me. Yeah,
You stand out.
I stand out. I stand
Look at
out. Yeah.
that.
So Jeju Island is that? I think that's like a resort place, right? It's kind of like a
Yes.
popular. What's it like?
Oh yeah. Oh, it's when I think about popular. I remember when I moved there, everyone was like, "Yeah, it's like a vacation spot. It's super international." What they mean is that a lot of Chinese tourists go there. Because in my mind, when people were telling that to me, as a first timer, I made the assumption that I would see like Europeans everywhere and Africans everywhere and all these international. Nope, it's the Chinese tourists who
Okay.
come to Jeju Island to vacation, to live for extended periods of time, and they're. I mean, I've met some really cool Chinese folk, and I've befriended a few of them, and they're great. But I think for the most part, they're the ones who are taking my picture and
Yes.
like propositioning for my hair to be touched by them. All of those things. But no, Jeju Island, it was definitely a tourist destination. So there were all these like different parks and like hiking trails that I definitely took advantage of. There was also the sex museum there too. I don't know if I can say the word the
Yes.
SES there, but it was like
We're adults.
okay. All right, but that was interesting. I went. It was called Jeju Loveland, and I have pictures of like me being there with friends back when I lived there. But it was very phallic. Like it just had a lot of like
I see.
penises
Uh
for the
huh.
most part. Which I was like, where do vaginas at though?
Oh.
How is this a sexual health museum without vaginas? What's going on? But yeah, Korea. I mean, I think the Koreans are still Korean. They're still very conservative in that way. So I think like even though it was like like a sexual museum, they still didn't feel comfortable enough to like put vaginas everywhere. But I peeped it. I was like, what's going on? But overall, I was able to feel like it was home for me. All even though there was very much like all those like resorts and sites to be seen, I still was able to find my community and not get caught up in all of that,
Okay.
and really find like the little hidden gems of Jeju that weren't super overcrowded by like tourists, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah, it was wonderful living there. I feel like nature was just at the touch of my fingertips. I was always at the beach, always hiking through waterfalls and all these great things, and taking flights to the mainland. Because Seoul, South Korea was a lot of fun. So there were times where I would take flights out there to like Seoul, or to Daegu, or to I went to Daejeon one time. I went to so many different like places on the mainland, but definitely like I think I spent most of my time on Jeju Island, and that was my favorite place.
Okay. When you did you have a choice in where to go in Korea to teach, or is that
No,
where
I
they
did not.
placed you? Okay, so you got lucky.
I got lucky, but at first, Stephanie, I was really annoyed. I was reconsidering the offer. When they told me I got Jeju, I was like, of all the people, you put me on Jeju Island, the girl who cannot swim. I was so
Oh.
nervous. Why are you putting me on an island? I don't want to be on an island.
Did you learn?
Not then. I learned back in 2020, I learned how to swim at the YMCA.
Mm-hmm.
But I would still go to the beach and I would just make sure if I was doing any like of those like water holes with the waterfalls, if I was doing any of those like bodies of water, I would always have a life vest on.
Yes, wear that vest.
Yeah, I always have my vest on, but I made sure I didn't let the fact that I couldn't swim like limit my, you know, my possibilities and the things I did. Yeah.
Yes, live. Yes, live. Wear your life vest and go. Yeah. Yeah, I've done a lot of snorkeling. I am not a strong swimmer. Some people would even say I'm not actually swimming. I'm just kind of floating and moving my arms. So when it's time to go in the water, I'm putting my vest on. I'm snorkeling with my vest on, and maybe even a pool floaty. I've had done excursions where they'd have you snorkel with a noodle. They're like, take the little,
nice.
I don't care if you're a good swimmer, you're taking this noodle. I'm like, yes, no shame in my game. I'm going, and I'm using all of the devices.
Use it. Okay, you're still up above the water, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're doing all right. Okay.
Yes, that's right. All right. How long were you in Korea?
I was living on Jeju Island for a year and a half.
Okay. And then did you come back to the US after your time teaching?
Yeah, so once I was done, I finished up in 2016 and I actually was going to extend because you can extend your contract for a very long time with the talk program. And I loved life on Jeju. So I was planning on extending my time there. But then my father was diagnosed with cancer. And so that was like the catalyst as to why I came back to the States. And so when I came back to the States, I I applied for Teach for America. I got into Teach for America because I actually didn't go to school for education. I went to school for social work.
Okay.
But after getting the teaching experience in South Korea, I was like, all right, now that I have this experience, I might as well like continue teaching because I have this experience. And so that's why when I came to the States, I ended up joining Teach for America. But yeah, in 2016 was when I left Jeju, but I don't think I was ready to leave, but it was time to go. You know, it's like I didn't feel ready, but I knew it was time to go.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I see you in the chat, but I am kind of not paying attention to you because I'm excited to talk to Mare. So I see your questions, Venus and Aradia. We'll do some senior travel stuff. We will. So I'm gonna write down your recommendations that we do some budget friendly senior travel talk. But you know, all I talk is budget friendly travel. So it applies to you. Okay, so this applies to you. I've only done budget friendly travel. But we're gonna do some more senior specific talking as well. So I'll get somebody on here to talk. If you want to be the person, holler. If you want to be the person who comes on and talks about it on the channel, holler. All right. And
I love that.
Good morning to everyone else who we haven't said good morning to yet. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
Time changed for you guys in the U.S., but fun story, time has not changed yet in Mexico. So we started at 7 a.m. here in Mexico. So y'all are lucky that I even got a bra on this morning. Ooh, it was an early start. I was looking at the clock like, really? Phew. I got bra and eyebrows on this morning. I accomplished something today.
Look at you. You are doing some work this morning.
Accomplished some things before 7 a.m.
So
I do. I feel good about it. I feel good about my whole day. Now I don't have to do anything else.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Nothing else, because I have done something today. All right. So if you have questions about specific places, holler. So I want to talk to Mare about a couple of places that she's been that have negative reputations for Black people. So what Mare and I both have popular videos about places, what mine is called Worst Countries for Black Travelers, and Mare's is all I can think of is don't go there. It's like top 3.
Top 5 most racist.
Top 5 most racist countries. Yes, I just what I call it is don't go there. So we want to talk a little bit about these places and about the fact that we've been there. Okay, when we tell you these places are we've had bad experiences here, it's because we've already been to these places. So when I bash Australia for being racist, I've already been to Australia, right? I've
Mhm.
experienced Australia for myself. So the videos that we make, the information that we give are not to tell you don't go to these places. Even though I may have said don't go to Australia, I may have said those words, but I'm just talking. I may have very well said those words, but we've experienced them, and we want you to experience the fullness of life. If you have had a dream to go to these places, go. Just be prepared. Have our information. See if you can maybe work in some sort of safety, like some sort of like, if I get there and I don't like it, here's how I can get out, right? Or if I get there and I don't like it, here's some adjustments that I can make. Um,
Mhm.
yeah. So my concern is that when you see these videos that say don't go to these places, that you will not go to these places and then have regret or have at least be missing a big picture, a big piece of the pie, right?
Yeah.
So we've talked so nicely about Korea, but we have some not nice things to say about China, which is not far. So can you tell us
Mhm.
a little about your own experience with China?
Oh, China, 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 China. It's interesting. Um, yeah, I went to China back in at the end of 2015 into like into the new year 2016. And I traveled there at the time I was dating a white man, so we went there together, and it was also very interesting, like how we were received as a couple.
Uh-huh.
But what I didn't appreciate about China was kind of what we were talking about earlier on, Stephanie, was the fact that people would see me more as an not as a human, but as a like a foreign thing, like out of this world, like petting
Alien.
zoo, yeah, like an alien petting zoo type vibe. So I felt very alienated in China, and I don't think any human being likes that feeling. And I know for myself in particular, I was not appreciative of spending my money to get into this country to feel alienated. Like I didn't spend my money for this, right? And I don't feel that other foreigners get the same treatment that black foreigners do. And so, because my fiance, like no one was taking pictures of him, we were literally just standing by, like standing around, walking, and people would try to take pictures of me without my permission, without paying me for it, none of that. You know what I mean? So, or even just saying hello, it was just very aggressive,
That's
and
right.
I don't think that that's okay at all. I know it's not okay. So those are the experiences I had when I was in, and I just want to kind of clarify. I was in Shanghai, China. So I went to Shanghai, China, and I went to Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, it wasn't as bad, but
Yeah.
there was an instance where people were definitely taking pictures. We were probably like in a place that was so spectacularly beautiful. I don't remember the name of the place. It's in my Hong Kong video, but it was on the water, gorgeous, and there was like a Ferris wheel in the background. We were in awe looking at it. And then we have these people who are also tourists. Instead of taking a picture of the view, they're taking
Yeah.
a picture of, why are you taking a picture of me? Do you not see what's in the background? I was like, yo, y'all are bugging. They
Uh-huh.
were bugging. I
Uh-huh.
was very upset.
Yeah. So Kim was in the video. Kim is one of the people. Yeah, Kim was in the video that where we talked about our worst experiences, and China did not do well in that video at all. And Adalia, Kim and Adalia, good morning, y'all. Did not do well in
Okay.
that video at all. So is there any redeeming value in going if you have the options of like Korea, Taiwan? I've talked to Brittany who went to Taiwan and taught there. If you have other options, is China worth the effort? Mainland China. Is mainland China worth the effort as a black traveler? The money, the.
China's, yeah, it's hard because China's so unique, and part of me wants, I've never been to Beijing, and I really want to see the Great Wall of China. And I don't want people, like human beings, to limit me for seeing from seeing such a beautiful like monuments of this earth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just don't think, I don't want to feel limited. I don't think I'll be going to China. I'm prioritizing other places before I go to Beijing, but ultimately I do want to see certain sites and like exhibits and places that I know I can't find anywhere else,
Right.
because they're very unique to like they're unique, and they're, like a place in China that I can only see there. So yeah, I would say to black women, like, prioritize going to other places first, but if there is like a specific thing that you can only see in China,
Yes.
don't let our experiences like limit you or stop you. You should definitely go, because
Go.
who knows, you might have a better time than I have. And by the time you go, maybe Chinese folk will be more welcoming and they won't be as alienating as they've been. Because I went, like I said, I went back in 2015, 2016, and I know, I mean, yeah, things probably haven't gotten that much better since I left. But like Stephanie and I are saying, don't let those negative experiences stop you, because I would never tell you not to go. Like, I feel like you should definitely still go, but just know that I had the experiences I had, and they didn't feel very great.
Yeah. So that's the answer to your question, Nora. So why go there to experience something? Like, we on this channel, we believe in living our dreams, right? On this channel,
Yeah.
we do what we want. And so we go places because we want, but we're here to give you some information so that people will be prepared, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I talk very negatively about Australia. I've had some good experiences in Australia, but all in all, my overall experience is that for the money, for the time, for the effort it takes to go to Australia, you could just stay in the United States, right? They're just racists, and just stay in the United States. Now, having said that, I have experienced Australia for myself. I know what it's like to get up in the morning, walk out the front door, and see kangaroos in the neighbor's yard just lounging. Like,
Wow.
not like, I always kind of compare kangaroos to deer. Where I live, deer, no big deal, except that kangaroos are much more brazen than deer, and they're not going to run. If you see some deer in Delaware, they are definitely on the move. If you see some kangaroos in Perth, in I was in the Swan River or Swan Valley or whatever. If you see some kangaroos in Perth, they are definitely just chilling, watching you. Like, what you gonna do? You know.
Yep.
So I have experienced that for myself. So me saying don't bother with Australia is coming from a person who has already experienced it. I have held a koala in my arms at one of those little petting zoo things. It wasn't like in the wild, but I held a koala in my arms. One thing I do know about Australia that you wouldn't know until you got there is that, like, I'm in Mexico now. You can hear the birds. There are sparrows and mourning doves, and the same birds we have in Delaware, plus some different ones. But the birds look like birds. They're brown, they're gray, they're white, they're beige, right? In Australia, the birds in the trees are parakeets and parrots, and like the most exotic birds are just their everyday tree birds. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. I've seen that for
Wow.
myself. So, having said, don't bother, Australia's racist, it's too expensive, I've seen these things for myself. So, this is what I want us to talk about today. There are, I mean, some amazing, amazing things that we have been able to see in these places that have not been the most kind to us. So, when
Right.
we say, don't go, they're racist, it's not worth it, remember, it's coming from people who have already gone and who've already experienced it. And we don't want you to take this to mean this is off my list and I will never go to this place. We just want you to be a little more prepared for it.
Exactly. Well said. I couldn't say it better myself.
Okay.
Exactly.
I talk a lot.
I
Yeah.
am the same way though. I'm a chatterbox, but you're like literally echoing everything that I'm thinking. So I'm like, okay, cosign. I don't have to say it again.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's important that we put a frame on it, right? So we talk about the places, what's good, what's bad, but we want to frame it to make sure you know that we can say these things because we've been there. We had the chance to experience it. If you have a dream to go to Australia, go do it, right? Just know be prepared. Yeah.
Right.
Justine says the way they treat Aborigines is foul. Australia, so we've already talked about Australia, they're like decades behind in their treatment of the Aboriginal people. Like Canada seems to be like actively trying to repair relations with who they call the First Nation people. Australia's like whatever. Whatever. We did what we did and what? They're just actively racist. I stayed with a family she was Dutch and he was British. So I lived in their home with them, and so that was not an experience of me being with racist people, right? I've never said that before. They were not Australian, right? And so they
Okay.
had a different perspective. She had actually lived in South Africa and she lived in the Netherlands, and so they were not Australian, but their friends were and their neighbors were, and they're just actively racist people. It's just something that's just acceptable, perfectly acceptable there.
Oh Lord, that makes a lot of sense now. I mean, it's interesting though. I've never been to Australia, but I've met a few Australians in my travels, and I've met some wonderful ones, but when they're douchebags, Lord have mercy, they're like entitled douchebag. They're so entitled. Like what? Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
have stories. But yeah, Australians. It's just interesting.
Yeah, when you talk about people being ambassadors for their country, it works positively and negatively, right? So you had the experience of your roommate being a good ambassador for Korea, but you're right. Australian travelers, they have all those Australian dollars because their money is powerful. Australian dollars will take you far around the world, right? A regular miner, somebody who mines um, I don't know, minerals. I don't know what they mine in Australia, but whatever. A regular miner in Australia is rich in the rest of the world. So they have a lot of money, they have a lot of time. It's easy
Hmm.
for them to travel, especially to Asia, right? Easy for them to get back and forth to Southeast Asia. And sometimes
Hmm.
they are not nice. They can be not nice people.
Yep. Oh yeah, I've had that experience once. It was a one-time experience that was negative with this Australian guy, but for the most part, I met some cool Australians.
Yeah. Yes.
New Zealand. New Zealand.
Do you have any experience with New Zealand?
No, I have not. That's a place I want to go to. I haven't been out over there. Like, it's just so far,
It's
and
far.
like I'm not ready for a flight that long. But I cannot. If I go out there, I'm definitely doing New Zealand before I do Australia.
New Zealand is very black people approved. I don't know any black people who've been to New Zealand and have been like, it's okay. They always are like, I love it. It's the best. It's amazing. You should go.
Oh wow. Okay, that just like incentivized it even more for me.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. Very black people friendly. Yeah. All right. So, okay. So, I'm sorry. I'm trying to read the comments and think at the same time. I'm not doing that.
The
So,
multitasking. Yeah, it's a lot.
I told y'all it's early in the morning. All right. So El Pal says, "What were my racist experience?" It's just conversation. So people weren't racist. So I have a whole video about it, about worst experiences. But people weren't outwardly racist towards me as a black person. They quickly interpreted that I was black, not Aboriginal, right? I so it's not like they treated me as poorly as they treat Aborigines people. Um,
Hmm.
but it's just that they have no problem talking negatively about Aboriginal people in racist ways. No problem with it. Outwardly, openly, no shame, no secret, no hush. Like in the US, people would say the same thing about other people, about black and brown people, but they definitely wouldn't do it in front of other black and brown people, right? In Australia, no problem. No problem. Let's do it. Let's talk negatively and let's tell you why they're not exactly the same type of human as we are and that kind of talk in Australia. Yes. So I wouldn't want to have to live there as a black or brown person. But I mean, when I tell you it's crazy looking, it's like a person from a different planet tried to make the United States, right? Because it looks like the U.S., but the birds are technicolor. Uh, there are kangaroos just hopping. There are kangaroo crossing signs, and it's just a weird place. It's weird. So you should, if you want to experience it for yourself, definitely experience it for yourself.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. I know. So China, I think that nobody expects much good from the treatment that they'll get from Chinese tourists, right? So the situation is really with like Chinese tourists who probably are like have not had experiences with black people. Even in Hong Kong, do you think your negative experience was with Chinese tourists from mainland China who were in Hong Kong visiting, or not?
Possibly because they were tourists.
Yeah.
It's like but I don't know where they came from, but they were. I don't know if they were from Hong Kong because the way they were just there with their backpacks and like their cameras, you can kind of tell
Yeah.
they look like us. They like were dressed like us, like had this leisure time, just taking pictures and strolling. But instead of taking pictures of the background, they were taking pictures of me.
Yeah.
So I do have a strong feeling that these were people who were from like who knows, like Shanghai or
Mm-hmm.
somewhere in like outside of Hong Kong.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah.
Gina brought up another place that is black people approved, the nation of Georgia, which is east of Turkey.
In
Another
Europe.
place, yeah, another place that black people, when they go, they love it. I haven't been. Have you been there?
I've never been to Georgia. I need to go to more of those small European places. I have not been there.
Yeah, but you did go to. You have spent time in Prague, I think, in the Czech
Yeah, I
Republic.
was in Prague. Yep, I went to Prague, Czech Republic, as well as Vienna, Austria,
Okay.
and like I was in Berlin, Germany as well.
Okay. Was this okay? So we're gonna jump a little bit. So Mare taught in Korea, and then came back to the U.S. and then you went to Spain, right? Spain was a separate like transaction, separate trip.
Yeah, Spain was separate. I lived in Spain for the summer in 2019 for like a month and some change, and then
Okay.
um, before I left is when I did the Austria trip, the Czech Republic trip, and then I went to like Berlin, Germany. So I did a lot of like other European countries and cities,
Yeah.
but I was there for studying, and I studied Spanish for like just a month in Spain, which was
Okay.
really fun actually.
Okay. Was that through a formal program or you just showed up and found a tutor?
It was through a formal program that I found. I did some research on this program. It's called AIL Madrid.
Okay.
Love them. Shout out to them. I don't actually know what AIL stands for, but if you look up AIL Madrid, there's all these like classes you can take, and like programs, and, like different timelines. And I was there for the month starting at the beginning of July. So it started July 1 and ended at the end of July. So I think July 31st.
Okay. Spain has a rep, and where in Spain? You said Madrid. Spain,
Madrid, yeah.
Madrid in particular has a reputation for being hostile to black people until, or well, sometimes until they know that you're American. Did you have that kind of experience in Spain? Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely had a few instances. There was one instance that I remember where me and my friend were at the train station, just standing there waiting for the train, and I think this couple bumped into us, not aggressively, but it was just like, they like bumped into us, and we both felt it, and we looked at them. They looked at us, and then they kept going, and then we just started talking in English, in our American English, and then they turned back around and like, oh, you're from America, like where are you? So excited afterward, even though like we definitely made eye contact with them, and they continued moving until they heard us talk. So that kind of thing. It's like a transformation that happens in those moments. Um, I don't appreciate it though.
No. No, yeah. Spain has that reputation, especially Madrid, I would say. Madrid and some parts of southern Spain. Um, well, and I was also going to say also Barcelona. So basically, we've covered the whole country. So Spain does have that reputation. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The good parts.
unfortunate.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was like, unfortunately.
But so, what's good about Spain? If you can get to Europe and Africa for pennies, right? You can fly around the area for $50.
Yo, I've been to Spain 3 times. Although I know I have like 2 videos where I talk about Spain in not the most positive light because of the racism that I've experienced, the subtleties of racism that I've experienced. Although that is the truth. I also do love Spain. It's beautiful, and it's just so easy to get like navigate and get around. And I can practice my Spanish, and I can like be up all night because the sun doesn't set in the summer. It doesn't set until like 10:15 p.m. or 10, like it sets so late, and the days are so long when I'm there in the summer. So like Spain it has a really special place in my heart because I just love that when I am in Madrid, I can get to Morocco. Like I went to Morocco from Madrid. I went to Portugal from Madrid. I went to like Czech Republic and Austria and all, like Berlin, Germany. And just like the cost of living in Madrid is so low that it's really affordable. And like my dollar goes very far when I am there, in my opinion. And then in addition to that too, I just appreciate like the people that I've met there. Like I've met
Yeah.
some people who are still my friends to this day. This Black girl who is originally, I believe she's originally from Belgium, and then her family is from somewhere in West Africa. And I could be wrong about this, but she was such a great friend to me. And we still talk to this day. We are Instagram friends. But yeah, just like the long lasting relationships I've made in Spain,
Yeah.
as well as just how beautiful it is, the cost of living. The food is pretty good as well. The tinto de verano, like the sangria, like the drinks there, like are so tasty and refreshing. And I could go on and on about Spain,
And
but
paella, 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 paella,
I,
paella.
the beaches, because I've been to Valencia and I've been to Barcelona. Like the beach culture is great. I like love being on the beach, and people are like salsa dancing. right next to the beach, and it's easy going. Like life, you feel like you're living pure life,
Yeah.
like pura vida while you're
Yes.
in Spain.
Yes.
It feels like pure life, and I don't think I get that slow pace. Um, what is it? Siestas, like the nap time. Like I don't get that when I'm in America.
Yes.
The culture, like it's just like a culture of urgency here, which I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the culture of urgency is interesting in America. I'm like, I don't know. I feel like low key it stems from like white supremacy,
It's the
but
race.
that's a different.
It's slavery. It's fruit of the slavery
It's
tree.
slavery.
That's all it is.
It is. That's all it is. I'm like, I can't stop expecting me to work for like pennies. No, are you kidding me? I'm only gonna do the work you paid me for. I'm not going above and beyond. Above and beyond. If you want me going above and beyond, pay me above and beyond money. Period. But in America, it's like such a negative, toxic culture. But in Spain, like I just like the easygoingness of it. And sometimes, I had to readjust because there were times with my program that they would get me information last minute, and I wasn't used to that. But like I said in the beginning, I go with the flow. So although I wasn't used to it, I wasn't upset. I was just like, oh, this is different. Like
Yeah.
they're getting me this information like the day before, and in America, you get it like a month before. So just
Yeah.
interesting, just very different.
It is. Yeah, it's nice to see people. It's a different experience to see people who um, value slow, leisurely enjoyment of things. Like we're gonna go eat dinner and it's gonna take 3 hours.
Yes.
Even with the kids, we're taking the kids. We start dinner at 8 p.m. We're not finished till 11 p.m. That's life, right? We're going to spend a
Yeah.
good amount of our time just focused on the people at this table
Yeah.
and the food, the people and the food. And we're going to, no shame in prioritizing these things. Work is done. We're not going to think about work. Whereas in the United States, we really are. I mean, there's no question that this is a country that was built on the foundation of slavery, and you are not human. You are a worker,
Right.
right? You don't
Exactly.
get to enjoy your life. Even non-black people. I mean, especially for black women, but even for other people, you are just viewed as a worker. I don't care. you are that you're
Mhm.
viewed as a worker, and that's not what it's like in a lot of the world.
It's not. No, you're a whole human being.
A whole
Work is
human.
like work is work, but it's not your whole entire life. Whereas I think in America, work is synonymous with your life,
Mm-hmm.
right? The
Mm-hmm.
first question people ask you is, "What do you do?" You
Exactly.
know, like wow, why is that? So there have been many times where I'm like, "Yo, I gotta move to Spain." I've been trying to move to Spain 3 times. And
Ah.
okay, so funny story. I was actually supposed to be in Spain right now, living there, starting in 2020. I should have been there, but COVID. I
Oh.
applied. I got into a program. I applied and got into a program at the end of or at the beginning of 20, like March 2020. I got into a program in Spain just to teach abroad, called UCETAM, UCETAM, and then in 2018, before I accepted my job in Boston, I had gotten job offers, 3 job offers in Madrid, Spain, but I turned them down both times. Well, the first time I turned it down because I was like, oh, Boston's going to pay me more, blah, blah. The second time in 2020, COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to say no. But there was a different condition with 2020, as we all know.
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
but yeah, living in Spain has been a huge, yeah, that's my point. Like living in Spain has been a huge desire for me
Yeah.
for such a long time, but things keep getting in the way. And now I'm about to get married and I'm so excited, but like I can't imagine myself leaving him behind and going to Spain without him. So
He can't come.
he doesn't want to come.
Oh, okay.
He
Okay.
loves America.
Okay. All right. When you so now that you've seen what life is like in Spain, when you're back in the U.S., do you find yourself trying to hold on to that balance in life, or is it too easy to just slip back into work is life?
No, I've always been someone who tries to hold that kind of balance that is true in Spain. Even before I went to Spain, I very much at work, like I try not to allow it to get to me. So when I'm at work, like I'll do my job and I won't take it home. So like
Okay.
I still like keep that in mind, and I've always kept that in mind just because I know it's not sustainable, and
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm too young to burn myself out.
Mm-hmm.
So I do all that is in my power make sure I prioritize my self-care over working like a slave.
Hmm. Okay. Because I find that when I'm out of the US, I think I can adapt to the cultural way of doing things in the place, right? So I'm in Mexico, and it's easy for me to slip into a Mexican way of doing things. I'm gonna take my time with stuff. I don't, even like with setting up this with Mare, I was like, oh, I'm supposed to have emailed her 2 weeks ago with the information. I'm in Mexico. I'm doing things when I feel like it, and I will send her the information 8 hours before we're supposed to go live. Like I do, and then when I'm in the U.S., I find it's easy to slip back into. Um, you got to make money. You have to make more money. You have to buy stuff so you can make more money, so you can buy more stuff. I slip back into that really easily. As soon as I land in the U.S., I got to get to Target. I had to buy
Yep.
stuff that I don't need just because that's what we do. Where in Mexico, that's not really a thing. It's not, shopping. I mean, we shop down here, but there's no like you have to have these things to be, seen. You have to have these things to be, well, not with the people that I know. There are rich Mexicans who probably live like that, but I don't know them.
Right. There's probably, yeah, a few. No, that's a good point. I'm just like, yeah, sometimes I just think like the US is such, it's like, is it even a country? Like, yeah, I know it is like it's a nation, but sometimes I'm like, the vibes I get here, I feel like it's more of a corporation than anything.
Yeah.
Where's our culture? Like when I go to different places, I know America is beautiful though. Like it's super diverse depending on like whether you're on the West Coast or the East Coast. But when I'm traveling or driving, I'm like everything looks the same. We have our McDonald's, our burger, like you can see the same things everywhere you go. Whereas in Jeju Island, every place was so distinct and different and cultural, and I don't know. I just wish we had like a culture like that in the States, but for us, we replaced that culture with like shopping malls and like just industrial things and all these like very capitalist things, and I just we lose sight of what really is important. And that's why sometimes I'm like I gotta leave here. That's why I love to travel so much, because being here for so long like really just drains the life out of me at times. And don't get me wrong, I love being American. I'm proud of who I am. I love my like my American brethren, but
Uh-huh.
it's just this culture that we have is just so like unsustainable. It's like we all have to have our own cars. Like car culture in
Yes.
America too, so individualistic. You get in your car by yourself, you drive to a place like between your house and like where you're going, you might not ever really make contact with people. Whereas when I lived in South Korea, I was taking the train, I was sometimes hailing a cab, and I was like talking to the cab driver, in my broken Korean, or I was like, like on the bus to go to work and seeing people. I was always around people, and it kept me really healthy. I
Yes.
lost a lot of weight in South Korea, and I just felt it was just very more it's very communal, collectivist, but rather
Yes.
than individualistic. Because
Individual.
that's what, right. I'm used to being part of an individualistic culture, but like when I'm in a collectivist culture, I feel a heightened sense of self and like health, and I don't feel that in America. And I'm like, that's not fair.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I wrote down car culture because I've never heard anybody say that before, but I love it. I'm going to start using that car culture. That
Oh,
is that is one thing that I'm able to go back to the U.S. and not readopt. Mostly because I don't want to pay for a car. But
yeah.
when I go back home to my parents, my dad buys and sells cars, so there's always cars in the driveway. And he's like, and if I need to use a car, I can use a car, but I don't. I walk places, I take the bus places, and
Nice.
even to them, they think that is so strange. That is so strange. Like, why would you do that? Why are you walking to the store? We have the grocery store is like, I don't know, not even a mile away. Why are you walking to the grocery store? Why are you walking to why are you taking the bus to Wilmington? Why don't you just drive in the car? But you're right that car, it's I view a car as one of the earliest ways Stephanie, I'm not talking for other people. The car is one of the earliest ways that I got trapped into debt. And when I think about me having a car, I think of me being stuck someplace, right? Now I have a car, I have a car payment, I have insurance, and I got to buy gas. This means I can't make a quick exit. When I'm ready to up and go, I have at least this thing that I'm going to have to account for, this thing that I'm going to have to deal with. And I refuse to get back involved with car culture. I love that you call it that. I'm going to start calling it that.
Yes, Stephanie. Oh yeah, I've always like used that term because that's what it is, you know. And I'm the same. And it's crazy you say that because I'm like, yep, this resonates with me because for a full year, back from all of 2019 up until July 2020, I didn't have a car. I like usually get leases because leases are like to me, I need a car. I don't have generational wealth to afford a car outright. So in order to have a car, there have been two instances where I had to get a lease, and like I was on a lease for 3 years, and then as soon as it was up in like the start of 2019, I was like, "Here's the key. I don't want to buy it out. Bye." And then I didn't have a car for a whole year. I was walking again. I was taking the train in Boston. I was on the bus in Boston. It was phenomenal. And then I thought I was going to go to Spain, and that's why I was like, okay, I don't have a car, so I can go to Spain. And then all things fell, like everything fell to the floor because of COVID. And then I got this new job as a school administrator, making really good money, and I was like, damn it, I'm gonna get back into car culture. Oh, I don't want to be part of car culture. And now I'm back. I'm back in car culture, and I have a really nice car. Yeah, but the way I feel like because I have a lease, it's like kind of in it because it's 3 years. You know, I'm already 1 year done. I only have 2 years left now. And once that's done, I'm like literally intentionally, I'm saving up money that way I can get like a little hoopty and I can just buy it outright. And that's that. Or not get a car at all. But it's hard because like you have to in the States. They force you to. It's like I felt so pressured to get this car and I didn't want it because I knew how great it felt for a year in Boston not to have a car.
Yes.
But I digress.
But it's and wintertime also is like you feel like you need a car when you're in a place where it's going to get super cold. Like you're going to get snow, you're going to get cold, you're going to get freezing rain. Like I think maybe I'm going to need to have a car. Your location kind of dictates that too. So Forever Free says I need a car whether I'm in the US or not. I promise you. I promise you. I don't promise too much on this channel. I promise you. Spend 6 months out of the United States and then see if you still feel like you need to have a car. There are places, when you leave the United States, you realize these places are advanced. Go to Japan, go to Germany, go to anywhere. Like in the UK, even I house sat in the UK in the most remote places in the UK. Now the UK is only so big. But like in like villages, like it's really called such and such village, right? When you want to go to the store, they call it the village, whatever. And they have public transportation. The public transportation in the United States is so far behind. It's expensive, it's slow. Go to another place and see if you don't feel like, oh, they have the right idea. Go to the Netherlands. I can just name any place I've been, Portugal. Go any of these places and see if you don't feel like, oh, this car is a trap. Public transportation is one of the things that tells me how behind the U.S. is. It's one of the indicators. Public transportation and healthcare. When you see what other countries are doing, you're like, oh, we are behind. We are not the best at anything.
We're not. We fool ourselves to think we're number one. But we're really not. We're really not. But number one, not being racist. That's about it. We're leading there.
We're not. I'm a driver too, Kimberly. Kim says I love driving. I'm a driver. I love driving. I love road trips. But the car. I'm serious. I'm not kidding. I promise you, I'm a long distance driver. I've driven myself to Texas multiple times, from Delaware to Texas by myself multiple times. When I go to places, sometimes I take road trips. I took a 2-month road trip in South Africa, through South Africa, from Cape Town to Jeffreys Bay to Durban, up to Johannesburg to the national park, whatever that's called, back to the other place, So 2 months, I drove myself around South Africa for 2 months. I love driving, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the idea that you have to have your individual car, you have to have your individual transportation, you have to be sheltered from other people in this little iron tank so that you don't talk to other people, you don't connect with other people. I'm telling you, these other places are advanced. They are ahead. They are advanced.
So advanced. I miss public transit in South Korea. It was phenomenal. I have videos where on the bus stop, it was like a electronic device on the bus stop where it would tell you when the next bus was coming.
Yes.
And that was back in 2014. I lived in South Korea in 2014 and they were already doing this.
Yes. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
I was only in Japan for a few hours. I had like a, I don't remember if it was an 18-hour or 24-hour layover in Japan. And by the time I had been in Japan for like 2 hours, I was like, oh, advanced. These people are ahead. We are behind. They are doing
We're
things right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. They are doing things right. And I'm just like, I need to go somewhere where I don't feel like I need to have my own car because I do like driving, like you all said just now. Like, I love road trips. I drove myself all the way to Ohio because I went to school in Ohio. I drove myself all the way over there. And that's like a 13-hour drive. I love to drive. It's peaceful and I feel independent and I feel so free when I'm behind the wheel. But I do also feel very much trapped when I'm making car payments, insurance payments. I feel like I can't leave until this car is paid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's
Yeah.
enough.
It becomes a it starts to run your life. Your things. That's just how it's set up in the U.S. for your things to be the boss of you. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, bars. Ooh, bars.
Yeah.
So real, Stephanie. That's so true.
So in Spain, do you remember what it cost you to get to Morocco? To how much it cost you to fly from Spain to Morocco?
Yeah, it was 135 dollars.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
okay, so Morocco is a place that I, as as a super experienced solo traveler, am intimidated about going.
Mm.
How was your, so I watched your video with your brother in Morocco and y'all lived. So how, like uh, like how wrong am I, right or wrong am I about how difficult it would be to be a solo traveler in Morocco?
So as you know, I went with my little brother, who is, although he's younger than me, he's like 2 years younger than me, and I'll continue calling him little. He's not little. If you saw in the video, he's way taller than me. He's like probably either 5'11" or maybe 6 feet at this point. Um, and he's like in his 20s as well. And even though he was there with me, there were times where, like, I don't know if it was in the video, but there was a time where a guy passed by us. He passed by us and he was like, "Nice chocolate," to me, with my brother right next to me, like side by side. We were attached at the hip the whole trip.
Mm-hmm.
And this Moroccan man still had the audacity to, I guess, try to flirt with me or call me nice chocolate, whatever it was. Um, and then there was some aggression too when we were in the souks, like the marketplace in the Medina. It's like the Medina in Marrakech, where we like kindly declined a man. Like we were like, "Oh no, thank you. We don't want to buy anything," and we kept walking. And I think he kept trying to talk to us. But at that point, we were ignoring him and we just continued walking because we already said no, thank you. And then he started like yelling, "They're not good people. Don't talk to them. They're not good people. Don't talk to them." I'm like, "You're embarrassing us." How are you gonna say? You just like literally, we had a 20-second interaction, and by that interaction, you've assessed the situation and made the determination that we're not good people. How? And then broadcasted it to everyone on this like stretch of street, like in the market. Very hostile. And I'm like, why though? You know? And you know, we got like called Rasta a lot, Jamaica, Obama family, like, come on, y'all. Michelle Obama, like just all these like things. And then at one point too, these children, and I know they're kids, so it wasn't that big of a deal. As we were walking back to our riad, like it's like a lot of like little alleys. It's me and my little brother walking and taking all these turns through these alleys to get back to our riad, which is our like little hostel.
Yeah.
Kids were like calling us the N-word, which was not fun. You know, it wasn't fun to experience being called the N-word, but there were kids, and I'm like, okay, these kids, who knows what kind of music they're listening to? Like, I'm not gonna make it a big deal. Yeah. But just saying all that to say that the fact that I still had my little brother and we dealt with hostility, I don't really feel that I would be comfortable going, like, I wouldn't want to like go to Marrakech, Morocco the same way that we did. Like, we booked the hostel by ourselves. We did a few tours, but not a lot. We were really independent, but I don't think I would have felt comfortable being that independent without my little brother, to be honest.
Yeah.
But if I had gone alone, I would have had all these different systems in play. So I would have had like a lot of like tours booked with like groups. I would have probably like done a trip where I could meet up with people, like maybe meet up with Black women or go do like a travel. I know Travel Noir and Global Jet Black organize certain trips to different places, like a group travel thing.
Uh-huh.
I would have done that versus like booking a random hostel that I found online, or because I do a lot of the curating of our trips.
Uh-huh.
And when I curated the trip to Morocco, I literally booked us the cheapest riad for like $15 a night. I wouldn't do that by myself, but yeah, like I said, it was very interesting going to a place with like another like a black man, and still feeling
Yeah.
a level of threat. But I think it's because Moroccan men really don't see women as their equals.
No.
So oftentimes, like I was in the market, and I know in the video, a man passed by me without saying, excuse me, like almost knocked me over, but I moved out of the way. In the video, I moved out of the way, of course, because my reflexes are that good. But he almost bumped into me, just the level of just like dehumanization. Like they don't see us as human. They don't see us as their equal. So just be mindful of that. But I would still say go to Morocco. You can still go by yourself. Just be strategic in like what types of activities you take part in while you're
Yes.
there.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, I've heard people talk about tours and how the tour guide was super helpful in buffering them, when they were out in the market in the public place. Yeah. Cuz it looks so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. It looks so amazingly beautiful. But
Yeah.
I just don't want to be because I don't want to travel someplace and then just feel like I have to be on guard the whole time. I get to be places where I just can be as a black woman. There are places where I can go where I can just chill and be. And so even though some places look super beautiful, I don't want to feel like I have to be guarded the whole time I'm there. Because like I said, you might as well just stay in the U.S., right? If you have to be on guard the whole time, just stay here. Just stay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just stay here.
So I see you guys in the chat. We're not talking too much to you guys in the chat, but I see you guys in the chat. I start every video with I help black women travel on a budget. So when people ask me why I haven't traveled very much in Africa, it's because I am a super budget traveler. I've been to South Africa only. Because if you can give me the same experiences, or like if you can get me to Africa, to countries in Africa on the money that I'm spending in Mexico, tell me. Come on the channel and tell me how it's done. So I don't go because I need to be able to I need to travel on a super tight budget. I'm a house sitter. Like y'all know this, I'm a house sitter. I need to travel on a super tight budget. I need to work from my computer. So we talked about this the other week too. I need good internet. I need reliable internet. I need cheap, fast internet. Right. So that's why my experience with Africa is only South Africa. And my experience with South Africa is it was wonderful, beautiful. I ate good. People were wonderful to me. Black South Africans and white South Africans, which I wasn't really expecting, were very friendly and open, and I stayed in their homes, and it was wonderful. But the internet, I would not want to have to work from South Africa. The internet was slow and expensive, so I wouldn't. So that's why I can't talk about Africa. I can't talk about experiences in Africa. This is not a channel about expatriation specifically to Africa. If this is something that is interesting to you, you have to find someone who can help you with that, because I can't help you with that. I need to go places that are inexpensive. I need I need good internet. I need to be able to get back to the East Coast US very easily, right? From Portugal, direct flights. From Mexico, direct flights. From wherever everybody's always saying you should move to in Africa, probably not direct flights. I cannot get back to Philadelphia International Airport in 6 hours like I can from Portugal. All right. So I do see you guys in the chat talking about why we don't talk too much about Africa. That's why. Right? This is not, I can't help you. I cannot help you. If that's what you want, you got to find somebody who can help you, instead of coming into my chat and saying, why don't I talk about this? Why don't I talk about this? Now, that having been said, Mare, do you have experience with travel in Africa? I know you're going to Ghana for your honeymoon. Some of you guys missed that. She's going to go heading to Ghana for her honeymoon. But what's been your experience other than that?
Honestly, the only experience I've had is Morocco, which is in North Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and the Africans in Morocco don't really look like me. There were a
Yeah.
few that look
Yeah.
like me, but most of them don't look like me.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the only experience I have, and then Ghana will be my next experience, and then I'm also Nigerian, so when I get around to it, I'll be going to Nigeria very soon with my mom.
Oh, good.
She goes every year. She goes every year.
Oh, does she?
Every year
Wow.
we have I have a house to my name out there. Like I have my
Really?
own house.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which is amazing. She's been building it since I was a child, you know? And I've never been there.
When do you think you're gonna go?
I want to go at the I want to either go at the end of this year or early next year with her. So I have to coordinate with her when she's trying to go because there's a lot of things to do over there. And she was just there. She went there at the end of 2020, which was just a few months ago.
How long did she
Um,
stay?
Usually like months. Like maybe this time was short, so it was a month, but sometimes it's 2 months. The longest time she stayed was when I was 15 years old. She stayed for 3 months in
Okay.
Nigeria.
Okay. And do you does your brother go? Is it just you two, or do you have other siblings?
I have two older brothers.
Okay. Do they have they been?
Oh yeah, they lived there. They went to
Okay.
high school there. They lived there for
Oh.
5 years.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Good. Do you think they'll go when you go?
I don't know if they
Help you
will. I don't
help you
think the
turn
older
up?
ones will.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I think it probably won't be my two older brothers who go because I don't think they might though. I mean, they might surprise me. I and my little brother and I will definitely go because we've been trying to for so long.
Uh-huh.
But it's just a lot of like not bureaucracy, but there's just like we have to get our Nigerian passports.
Yeah.
Um, that takes a lot of time and it's expensive, and we haven't scheduled like a because it's in New York. We haven't scheduled like the appointment in New York, and we don't drive. It's just like a lot of
Yeah.
steps to take to get to Africa.
Yeah.
Um, but Nigeria is a priority now. And for the longest time, my little brother and I were very afraid of going to Nigeria. Sadly enough, we were always like scared
Yeah.
that the bad would happen. And we've only heard negative things from my mom, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But that's who she is. Like I realize, like now that we're older, we realize she's always talking crap about her family. Like who does? Like that's who she is. So we gotta just go. Like she makes them sound so horrible. Like oh, they're stealing from me. And I'm like I don't want them to hurt us when we go.
Yeah.
But it's honestly I'm starting to realize that that's just who they are, and that's how she talks about them.
Hmm.
And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It just means that that's how they navigate their relationship.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. You have to know, just like some people are great ambassadors for their country, some people are terrible ambassadors for their country, and you have to like just disregard some of what they say.
literally. So now, I'm like, Mom, you say all this stuff, but you are in Nigeria, like having a blast. Like she went there, had a photo shoot because she had just her birthday happened, and she like survived COVID. She survived through a lot of things in
Oh,
2020. So
okay.
she when she went to Nigeria, it was a very celebratory thing. Like
Good.
she did a photo shoot. She like was in her like she had a jacuzzi in her place, and she was sending me all the videos of her jacuzzi. And I'm like, Mom, you've made this place sound so horrible. I'm not being fooled anymore. I'm coming. So
Okay.
I'll be there soon, and I'll definitely like vlog for my channel.
Uh,
But I think Ghana will happen way before Nigeria happens. So just stay tuned for like a
yes.
video vlog on Ghana because it's going to be phenomenal.
Yes. All right, great. I'm gonna put the link up, but you guys know she's Mare Meets World on YouTube. This is the link to her channel, but you can just put in Mare Meets World. You see her. A lot of you guys are already subscribed to her, but if you're not yet, make sure that you do subscribe so you don't miss it. Okay, so you don't have to be on my channel asking me why I don't have videos about Ghana. Just go to Mare's channel. Okay, go where that information is being given, please. All right.
I hear you. I used to be, oh, Stephanie, you're preaching because I get those comments all the time. Like, what about Africa? Why? Like, I mean, it's expensive. Me and my fiance, like, we're like, it's been hurting our pockets. The yellow fever. We just got our yellow fever
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah.
$350.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much money. Like it's just a lot. We got to get our visas. We sent in our visa application, but everything is just expensive. The flights, the stay there was pretty expensive too. So it's costly. So we don't do this every year, and we're not going to do it every year. It's gonna have to be like it'll have to just be a one-off thing because just like you, I am a budget traveler. That's what I stand by.
Uh-huh. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So we have some good info from Jasmine and Odea that Kenya might be a good solution for somebody like me who needs to be someplace that's budget friendly and needs good internet. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. Thank you. I know Nikki Faye the Wanderer lives and works from Kenya, so that's good info. I can't remember where she is in Kenya. She's not in. She is on the beach somewhere, but not. Was it Diani Beach? She's not Diani Beach, Kenya. She's north of there. So that's good information that there are. So there we can explore some other options. West Africa is not going to be budget friendly, right?
No,
It's just not.
no, it's so sad, and that's where most of us want to go because that's where our people come from. Like, I feel like when I think about West Africa, I think about the origins of a lot of Black Americans, you know, who were brought over like centuries ago. So, yeah, I think West Africa is a place that I like have always wanted to go, but it's just so expensive.
It's expensive. It's expensive. All right.
God. And then one last thing, traveling. What I noticed too is like me and my fiance, we wanted to go to like because he's from Liberia or his family's from Liberia, and we wanted to go in between different West African cultures, but that's impossible.
No,
what the heck?
No, it's not like other places. It's not like Spain where you can bop around Europe. No, indeed. Once you get to a place, you are staying in that place unless you have thousands of dollars.
It's so heartbreaking. I'm like, we're so close to like we're literally gonna be in Ghana, which is so close to like Liberia, Ivory Coast. It's so close to all these places that we want to see, but we can't take advantage of it because it's so expensive.
So expensive. That's right. That's it. Yeah, I went to South Africa and I was like, well, I know it's far, but I've been this far in Asia from one place to the next and flown for $100, couple $100. I'm like, how hard can it be to get to Tanzania from South Africa? $700. That's how hard it can be.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. Yes, yellow fever. Pro tip: sometimes it's cheaper to go to Mexico and get your yellow fever shot. If you live near, if you can get to Mexico really cheaply, like go to a cheap place, go to another country and get your yellow fever shot. If you're talking $450 for a yellow fever shot and you live in Southern California, like just go down to Tijuana and get your yellow fever shot. You know, if you are near the border or can get yourself a really cheap flight into Mexico, well, this is before COVID, but yeah, it's cheaper. I thought about getting yellow fever, getting the yellow fever vaccine when I was in Thailand, I think, but I just forgot to do it. People told me when you get out of the U.S., do the expensive things there. So we're going to talk some medical tourism sometime coming up. But do that expensive stuff when you leave the U.S. because, like I said, healthcare is a thing that will open your eyes to what's going on in the U.S. once you see how inexpensive healthcare is. So if some of you are like, yes, I need the yellow fever vaccine, it may very well be cheaper to leave your country, go to another country and get that yellow fever vaccine. It might be. So look into that if that's something that you would be interested in. Y'all know, because I will do anything on a budget. This mosquito right in my face. I'll do anything on a budget. I will do anything to save a few dollars. And that's something that I meant to do in Thailand. I totally meant to do it. Yeah, Kimberly said medical tourism. Yes, please. Yeah, we're going to talk some more about that. We had some good talk about that last week, or some questions about it last week. So we're going to get that happening soon.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, so okay, so I think we're done with Morocco. Thank you very much. I think we're done with Morocco. So I just it's been a long time. It's been an hour and a half. So thank you guys for hanging with us. And thank you so much, Mare, for hanging with us. I think we just want to make sure that we end with, even though we have talked about some bad experiences in some places, we can talk about them because we've been to those places. Okay, so don't let the idea that they're mean to Black people in this place, right, or they're not welcoming to Black people in this place. Don't let that be the end all be all. If you want to see it, if you want to do it, do it. If you want to go, go. Oh, good. I'm sorry. I see that her TD McClain, my insurance covered my vaccine. That's good because that's not normal in the U.S. That's not normal. That yellow fever vaccine is one people usually have to pay for out of pocket. Yeah. If you want to see it, see it. If you want to do it, do it. Okay. That's Mare's channel. That's my channel. All right. We want you to live. We want you to experience these places for yourself. We can only bash them because we've experienced them for ourselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So anything, let's see. Okay. 1,500 for braces outside of the US, 6,000 for braces in the US. Yeah. I know if you break an arm in Thailand, I read a blog post, a woman who broke her arm in Thailand, cost her $140. In the US, it would have been $14,000. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I've linked to Mare's YouTube channel a couple of times. Make sure that you're following her if you're not already following her, so that you can peek in on her during her honeymoon.
Ooh, can't wait, y'all. Get ready.
We're excited for you. I'm excited for you. And I'm excited to live vicariously through you. All right.
Thank you so much, Stephanie.
You're welcome. Anything you want to leave us with? Anything you think we didn't touch on that you wanted to touch on?
No, I think the biggest takeaway is just that when we're giving you this advice and this information, it's based off of our personal, like, lived experiences, and your experience will be different depending on like when you go or where you go and who you are. So just take what we say with not with a grain of salt, but take it as advice and take it as what it is. But don't use it as a deterrent to not go somewhere. Please see the world. The world is all of ours. You have every right to go where you want to be and every right to take up space. So please take up space. Especially as Black people, I think it's important for us to be traveling for leisure places, because oftentimes people are not used to seeing dark-skinned people like just walking around with so much free time. So please continue going places as a dark-skinned person and living it up.
Yes, live it up. Live, please. Yes. So from all of us to you, Mare, congratulations on your impending marriage. Your congratulations and best wishes to you both. Yeah.
Thank you so much, y'all. I really appreciate it. I see no comments right now. Thank you so much for congratulating me.
Thank you. And thank you for spending your morning with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to end the live, friends. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I'm sorry, I don't remember what we're talking next week. I don't remember. It's just me, but I don't remember. I have like an actual title, but I don't remember what it is. So next Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, I'll see you. I'll still be 3 hours behind, so it'll still be 7 a.m., but I will try my hardest to have on a bra and eyebrows. All right? I'll see y'all. See y'all soon. Thanks, Mare.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thank you.